you got the Lanny Kai to open back up.
Yeah, we took the Kelly down to the Lonnie this year. It was dope. Like the people came down there because I'm always DMing back and forth with them on Instagram. So
Yeah,
the
you
lady
tag
came
them
down
every day. You're their
all the
#1
time.
fan, and they probably
Yeah.
absolutely eat it up.
Oh, they love it. They came down and bought us all a drink. They gave me like a big bag full of like Lonnie Kai koozies and glasses and shirts. So it was dope.
Nice. Is that area kind of cleaning up since the big storm?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit better. It's still like, I mean, you saw it before. There's a bunch of shit down there, like bars, little restaurants and stuff. It's kind of empty down there, but the Lonnie Kai is starting to come back, and then they're building like Margaritaville or something right next door.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a
Yes.
Margaritaville by where I live, in like Fort Lauderdale, like around there. There's a Margaritaville.
Yeah, they're nice resorts too. So once that gets up and the Lonnie gets going, it's gonna be buzzing down there again.
Yeah, it's gonna be buzzing. And quick question,
Yeah.
like, are
Yep.
you officially a Forever Blade? Like, you plan on back next year to
Yeah,
play it again?
I gotta still see. Hopefully, I don't plan on going anywhere. I gotta still talk to my agent. I haven't even really checked in with him yet, so I don't know what he's saying.
Back-to-back
Oh yeah.
championships with the Florida Everblades. Z was obviously there for you for one of them. I was
Yep.
there with you for the beginning of the year for both of them.
Yeah, unreal.
I mean, do I get thumped for that? I was there for both years at the beginning.
You
I kind of
should.
kick-started it, and then I was
Yeah.
Yeah, you start how you finish.
You
yeah.
should.
So
Yeah,
but
it was cool. No, obviously Z was a big part of the last year's one, and then unfortunately he had to leave, and he got a nice little deal with Newfie or whatever. But obviously we got to see them again in the playoffs, which was cool. And I'm sure you were watching the games or following along on the games. Z came down there, was freaking causing havoc, man. He was scoring goals. He was, like chirping, firing up the crowd and stuff. It was so fun, but. No, like this year, it was very similar to like our team last year. We still had the same core group of vets. So whenever you have a team that has a good core like that, it's easy. And like shit, I think Ralphie said a stat. Idaho had 25 guys on their roster from like start to finish that were there the whole year, and we had 44. So we had a shit ton of guys coming in and out, and it just goes to show you, like, at first, like our year was kind of up and down, and we struggled, and we had good guys, but we just didn't have the right gel of guys. And it's kudos to Ralphie. I know sometimes he gets on guys' nerves or whatever, but he really does. They do a good job, like listening to us, and it's a team ran by the vets, really ran by the players. Obviously, we have the staff in charge there, but if there's a guy that's coming in and he's not fitting the mold, we tell him, like, listen, we got to get this guy out of here, and they're really good about doing that.
Oh, so you fucking got me out of there?
No. Not you. We were always pulling for you. You know why you didn't end up down here. It's BS,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. No, and we had guys that didn't really fit the mold this year, and fortunately, like, Brushy did an unbelievable job. He made a few huge trades, and we got a couple guys like right before playoffs, and even then, we still really weren't playing our best hockey. But come playoff times, like, obviously the older guys led by example, and saying the right things in the dressing room. And then obviously you see guys like Steph LeBlanc, who's a high end D man. He's out there, laying his body out on the line, blocking pucks in playoffs, and
Scoring goals.
you just see guys, scoring goals, doing whatever it takes. So you see everybody just raising their levels, and when you got the right build of players, like the young guys coming in, and then the guys that we got late, they jumped right on board. So it was, pretty seamless. And honestly, like, once we got through Newfie and you guys, like, Idaho didn't even really have a sniff. Like, they didn't have much pushback, and pretty much once we got up on them, we had them beat. Where Newfie, like, you guys had us sweating a bit there. So.
Oh man, I don't even want to talk about it.
Man, it was crazy, man. Even those games, like, we had 3 overtime games, like those like overtime games go the other way. Like, shit, it's a whole different.
Crazy. But how huge was the addition of Johnny Mack? It's crazy because I really want to talk about this, because you remember announced his retirement, they put up a post, okay? It
Mhm.
said Johnny Mac is pausing his career,
on.
right?
Yeah,
Career
put
on
it on
pause.
pause.
And I was messaging some of the boys like, whoa, does this mean like what does this mean type stuff?
Yeah, what does this
And
mean?
everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, he's retiring. I don't know why they said that. Like, he's done. Like, I don't know why they did that. Like, I think he's rattled about it, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
next thing you know, they were right.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that's what everybody was saying, and honestly, I was a big advocate the whole year, like, I was like, "Dude, you gotta come back, you gotta come back," and I manifested it too. I was telling everybody, I'm like, "This guy's coming back, like, I'm telling you, he's gonna come back," and we got that membership at Corkscrew last year for winning, so me, Benny, and Steph made sure to take Johnny out, like, once every couple weeks, we'd go golfing, and we'd just, like, fill him in with everything, you know, we'd catch a nice little buzz, have some fun on the golf course, and every time he'd be like, you know, "Fuck, you know, I missed that," or I'd tell the boys, like, "Hey, boys, come over," you know, I'd bring Johnny Mac back there after golf, and he'd just be shooting it with all the boys or whatever, and I could just tell he was missing it, and obviously, he had the birth of his daughter, and she was getting a little bit older, and you know, it came down to he's like, "Fuck, man, like I really want to come back." And there was one night we had at my apartment late night where he was like, "I'm coming back, bro. I'm coming back." And it was awesome. And yeah, like 2 weeks later, he ended up coming back. So you know, it's kudos to the guys, kind of getting them involved and getting them into a couple parties. And you know, I know he loves me, he loves Benny, he loves Winnie, like our core group of leaders, whatever. We're all brothers, as we are with you guys. But you know, obviously, he knew we had a good core group of guys back, so he saw something special, and thank God he came back because fuck was he huge for us, man.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was. No,
huge
OG
for
gold.
us.
You know what?
Dude,
You know what's
Fresh.
funny
He was
is
fresh,
you
man.
know
He
what's
was like
funny
his prime in his
is
yeah,
games.
in
he's
the beginning
fresh.
of the year, in the beginning of the year, I told Rosie, I said, I've
Yeah,
never seen a guy that old, and he's not that old, but I've never seen a guy that
yeah.
old in this league love scoring goals that much.
Oh, loves
I
it,
never
bro.
seen it.
He
I mean,
gets
it's like
fired up,
you see
bro.
it. He's a gamer, and when he scores, you
Yeah.
see it. Like,
Oh, dude, and that's the thing too. Like when he's scoring goals in game, it's like, oh yeah, we're fucking winning this. Like you just
Yeah.
know right away. All the boys
Yeah.
are like, oh, Johnny's going tonight.
Oh, fucker had 3 of the game winners versus us.
Oh,
Both
dude,
OT, both
he was
OTs.
automatic. Yeah, he was
Oh,
automatic.
God, he's the man.
Yeah, he's good shit. So getting him back was fucking huge, dude. And like honestly, when he came back to the first week, we were kind of struggling at the time. Like, fuck this season, we weren't really that good in the regular season, and we had a
Mm,
lot of energy or a lot of injuries and whatever, up down. You guys know how it goes, but
yeah.
he came back and like the first weekend there, we were on the road. He's like, "Fuck, let's go to the bar." Like, got all the boys together. Instantly went out. Like, we had a hell of a night. You know, we were all hungover at the rink the next day. Ralphie's like, what the fuck, boys?" Like, we're like, "No, like we needed this shit." It was awesome, and I think we were playing Atlanta that week, and we ended up going in there and waxing them. So it was like fucking huge. His first weekend or first weekend away. Like got all the boys together, and the boys were like, "Dude, this guy's fucking awesome." We're like, "Yeah, we told you guys.
yeah, we
Yeah.
know, we know.
We
Yeah.
told you guys."
The secret weapon. It just speaks to how like important leadership is and how a core group
Oh
that
yeah,
can just, take you to the promised land, not once, but twice, and just be
yeah,
strong like every year. So
yeah, 100%. That's the thing. Like we lead by example. And
yeah.
everybody wants to
Yeah.
win, dude. That's the big thing. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to do whatever it takes, and it's a belief, and everybody bought in. So
Yeah. Show me,
it
don't
was
tell.
awesome. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
We
you're a winner, Z.
yeah.
You're a winner.
Let's take it back though. I mean, these were unbelievable runs and stuff, but
Yep.
you've had a hell of a career, leading up leading
Yeah.
up to this. And I want to take you way
Decent.
back. I mean, you're from Michigan. You started playing for Little Caesars. I mean,
Yeah.
the first thing on your EP is Little Caesars 18U AAA, you know,
Yeah.
and then straight to the
That was my
USFL.
first year AAA too.
Yeah, so can you talk
So
about just like your youth hockey career, how you were maybe playing in the lower leagues because they're not even on
yeah.
EP. You know what I mean? Can't even find
Yeah.
it on EP. That's crazy.
It was, yeah, like growing up, I never did the AAA. Like my dad passed when I was much younger, and he used to coach me, and like even back then, I made a couple AAA teams when I was like, probably like 9, 10, 11 years old. And like at the time I had a group of buddies that I enjoyed playing with. So I never really wanted to leave them. So I never played AAA. And then, my mom did an unbelievable job, but she wasn't like really with it. And like, playing AAA and stuff, a lot of times it's a little political. Like, you got to get in there. You got to know somebody to get in there, whatever. So I just always stuck with like the same group of guys again growing up. And my junior year, we ended up winning states. It was just double A. I was just playing double A in Michigan. It was like triple A was what you wanted to play. High school wasn't good unless you played for like 3 schools. Then it was like good, and they were like private schools, which I didn't ever want to go to a private school. So I just played double A with my buddies. And my junior year, we won, the districts, we won states, we won nationals, we won silver sticks. Like, we were an unbelievable team where after that, it
So
was almost
crazy.
just like,
I
yeah, it
gotta
was
cut you
just,
off real quick. It's like the same thing you're doing now. You could easily play in the American,
yeah.
in my opinion, but you're playing with your boys and you're winning championships.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
exactly. Like, it's exactly it. So I just remember my senior year, I was actually skating with my high school team, and I was just too good to be playing there. And like, I was like, you know what? Like, what the fuck? And one of my buddies was skating with Little Caesars at the time. And his dad was actually the coach. And he's a kid that I played with like when I was really young, like really just starting out. So I already knew his dad and kind of had it in there. So I went and started skating with them. And they actually didn't commit to me till like very late. Like, I was basically about to play for my high school team, and they're like, "Oh, we want you to come play with us." So thankfully enough, I made Little Caesars, had like, and again, we had a great group of guys there, and we were like, our regular season, we weren't that good, but then we ended up winning the state championship that year. We lost in like the national semifinals or something, but we should have won fucking nationals that year. But just again, had an unbelievable group of guys. And then I didn't get drafted anywhere in the USHL. I got drafted in the NA to the Texas Tornado, they were called back in the day.
You didn't play in the NA at all, so
No,
so
no,
how did
I
you get
never.
to Fargo?
Yeah, so I got invited to like 5 or 6 USHL camps, and I went to Fargo's camp, I went to the Green Bay Gamblers camp, and I went to the Lincoln Stars camp. And the way that Fargo did, they had like their original camp in like June, and then they would invite like 30 guys back to Fargo later on for like the Fall Classic and all that. So I went there, I got invited to come back, and then I still had a couple camps or whatever. So I went into Green Bay, and I made Green Bay's final roster as a free agent. Like, I actually went in there and beat out the drafted goalie, which was sweet.
Yeah,
So
that's
I ended up making Green Bay, and my best buddy on the time was on the team too. Alex Kyle was his name.
oh
I
So
know
I kind of
I know
had,
AK.
Yeah.
yeah, AK.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So he was on the team with Nick Schilke, who's another big Michigan guy, one of my buddies, and Sheldon Dries. They were all Michigan guys. So they were all on the team. I knew all those guys. Like, I'd hang out with them in the summer and shit. So it worked out perfectly. Like, awesome situation. I was living with AK, and then I went down there. We played Fargo in the Fall Classic at the start of the year. And in Green Bay, when I made the team, we only had 2 goalies. When I came back, we had 3. So I was like, oof, like instantly kind of like, I guess we'll see what happens. And then we played Fargo in the Fall Classic. I started and I shut them out. So I saw those guys again, and then we actually got back to the rink from the Fall Classic, and my coach was like, "Yeah, I need to see you real quick." I went in his office. He's like, "Yeah, we traded you to Fargo." Like, they called right after we played you guys, and we're like, "All right, what do we need to do to get that kid off of you?" So thankfully, I got traded to Fargo, which again, this was like the first time I moved away from home too.
Yeah.
Like, I'd been living at home, playing double A, like triple A. What the fuck is juniors? And I made a junior team, and then I was like, boom, I'm getting traded from Green Bay to Fargo. And I never even fucking heard about Fargo before. I'm like, where the fuck is Fargo?
Were you out of high school when you went to Fargo?
Yeah, so I was
Yep.
out of high school, which actually helped me in Green Bay too, because like the goalie that they drafted, I think was still a senior in high school, or I don't know, whatever. I remember that like they weren't sure if they were gonna, which they ended up trading me. So they got this kid from Slovakia. So I think that's one thing that they were kind of debating when they were picking a goalie for the team. So I was out of high school, which I think actually ended up helping me in the long run, because rather than
Yeah.
them cutting me, they traded me over to Fargo.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I got the opportunity to play against Fargo in a game, so they saw what kind of goalie I was. So
Nice. Well, Green
but
Bay,
yeah,
your choice.
yep, Green Bay, they traded me out to Fargo, and then, you know, that year our team, we had a great team on paper. We weren't really too great in the regular season, but we went all the way to the Clark Cup Finals, which
Oh,
was
wow.
yeah,
That was
which
the
was
year you guys played
unreal.
Dubuque?
Yeah, that's the year we played Dubuque. Yep.
Okay.
And Dubuque
2009.
swept us in the finals too.
Oh,
And my coach, he still like it was funny that once it was all said and done and I was leaving or whatever, he told me he's like, my biggest regret was not starting you in that final series. So he didn't start me in the final series against Dubuque. So we
He
ended up
didn't start the gamer in the final series.
no, he didn't
Oh,
start me. He started the other guy.
yeah,
You know,
for sure.
it is what it is. And but after that year, I started to get a little bit of interest. North Dakota is only like 45 minutes north of Fargo. So
Okay.
it was cool. And John Marks was my head coach at the time, and he used to play at UND back in the day. So he had an inside there. And I
Nice.
remember he called me back in his office. He's like, dude, I'm calling these UND guys and come check you out. And then, you know, they were coming to my games, and thankfully I was able to commit to UND after that
Yeah.
season,
And then you do
which was
commit
huge.
there. Yeah. Then
Yep.
you only play 2 games your freshman year, but then after
Yep.
that, it's your net.
But
Yeah.
real quick. Your freshman year, though, you only played 2 games. That was your worst ever goals against average.
Oh yeah,
Ever
I
had.
was terrible.
It's
I
2
was
games
brutal.
though.
I know.
It's a
Yeah,
Can you
small
so
sample size.
talk about that?
yeah, so I only played. I was in front, or I was behind Zane McIntyre. Was his name? Or yeah, Zane McIntyre. It was originally Zane Gothberg, but Zane McIntyre. He was like the that year. He actually ended up. He won the Mike Richter, so he was the best goalie in college hockey, which is why I only played 2 games. He didn't give me a sniff, but he was an unbelievable mentor, and I knew like UND was very honest with me when I was going on my visit. Like you go on a visit with some of these colleges, and some of them kind of just blow smoke up your ass. They just tell you everything that you want to hear, and
Yep.
UND was very honest. Like we have this guy, he's a very like sought after whatever player. Like he's probably only got 1 year here, so they're like, you come in here, you learn from him, and he's like, we'll give you the net after that. Which a lot of times, like going to a school like that, like it's hard to just, come into a starting job. Like you got to be a real high end or kind of a real sought after guy to come in as a freshman, especially as a goalie and get the net. So it was a perfect situation where I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, and I didn't play a whole lot. I came in the first game of the year. We got fucking smacked by Bemidji State, and I came in. Let's see, what was it? I came in like halfway through the second. My fucking first shot ever in college went in. I got scored on my first
Shit.
ever shot. So that I think I let in like, and actually that was the only one I let in. But I only played like half a game. I only saw like 6 shots probably. So my stats were torched from there. And then I didn't start a game until like this was like second half of the season. So this was like months later. I ended up starting a game against Lake Superior State. And there was a couple instances he could have started me through the year too. Our coach at the time was Dave Hackstall, who he's coaching the Seattle now. Really, really unbelievable coach. But like we played like Niagara that year. They were like 59 out of 60. We played like Air Force. They were like 54 out of 60. So we played some teams that like weren't that good that I thought maybe I would get a sniff. And he didn't even give me a sniff till like close to the end of the season. So I got my first start. It was in like, God, I want to say like February, probably. January, yeah, probably like either January or February.
Well, if you're smart, he'll give you a sniff with the Kraken.
Yeah, right.
No, but
I guess we'll have to see.
that's brutal though. Like, how was I mean, Cam, you've played with me, I'm in and out of
Oh
that
yeah,
mostly
it's
out of it.
tough. Yeah,
But how was that like for your mental grind?
yeah, it was tough. Like that's the thing. When I went in my first start, like I was so torched mentally that I got scored on early. I let in like 3 or 4 goals in the first period. I got yanked. So it was my first college shot went in. My first college start, I got yanked. So it was tough. And then Like mentally, dude, that was the hardest part. That was the hardest part, and especially after that year too, like the media and the fans and everything. Like I was getting lit up on all these like chat discussions, like, we got a good team, but like our goalie sucks, like blah blah blah. So it was really hard. It was a tough barrier to get over mentally, and like thankfully my sophomore year, I started talking to a sports psychologist, and I actually got hurt my sophomore year too. I tweaked my groin like second, I think it was like the second weekend of the season. So like first weekend played good, was like finally starting to get my footing out under me, and then second weekend I got hurt and I tweaked my groin. I was out for like 5 or 6 weeks, and at the time our backup goalie that was coming in, he got groin surgery, so he was out. So it was our third string was our starting goalie for like 6 weeks, and this is the year we ended up winning the Natty. Like our season could have been fucked, but he came in, he did an unbelievable job, like the boys, and that's how we knew our team was fucking like loved each other. Was we played so well when he was in there. Started talking to a sports psychologist and like really helped me like just focus on like me rather than like thinking about all the other shit and all the other buzz, whatever. It's just like comes down to it. It's just like worrying about yourself and controlling what you can control. So talked to a sports psychologist and like just got mentally, once I got over like the barrier of worrying about like what everybody else thinks and just doing like, like fuck it, like enjoy where you are. I used to like in that I'd just be like, pinching myself like, holy fuck, like you're playing at North Dakota. You never in a million years would I have thought like I'd be a starting goal at the University of North Dakota. So it's just like little reminders, like fucking just enjoy it, relax. Look at where you are. It's not the end of the world.
Real quick, like back right after that freshman year, like before, because you started seeing your sports psychologist in sophomore year, right? So
yeah.
after that freshman year, did you not only like doubt yourself maybe, but
big time.
Did you doubt that they would actually give you the net now? Were you like, oh, maybe their promise, is out of the
Yeah.
picture?
So this is what helped too, was Brad Berry was the guy that recruited me too. He was like the big guy in my recruitment process. And he was the one who ended up getting the head coaching job. So he called me. He told me, he's like, "You're my first call I made once I found out I got the job." And he's like, "I want you to know, like, you're my fucking guy, and like, I'm rolling with you." So it's
Chills.
yeah,
Chills.
bro. It
Yeah,
was
you're my
dope.
fucking guy. Chills.
Oh,
You're my
that's the kind of
fucking
call I
guy.
need, Cam.
Oh, bro, it was dope, and I was like, "Fucking, like, fuck yeah!" Like, we're fucking
How
doing
much
this
did
shit.
that motivate you to actually get
Oh,
in
bro.
training?
So, and that helped me too mentally because and the kid coming in was like a second round pick or a third round pick, like highest draft pick in UND history. And he's like, fuck that. He's got to come in and earn it. Like, I recruited you. You're my guy. Like, let's fucking do this. So it was sick.
Good on.
He gave me the opportunity I needed.
Brad Berry, where's he at now?
Yeah, he's still at UND.
Nice.
So that was cool. That was cool too. We won the Natty his first year as the coach.
That.
So it was like, he's one of like fucking whatever 2-3 guys to do that.
He's a genius. It sounds like
Yeah.
you're my fucking.
Yeah.
You just had a brutal freshman year, but I believe in you because I see.
He's like, you're my fucking guy. And he said, so I had a really cool goalie coach at the time there too. Carl Gehring was his name. And my whole freshman year, like, he would tell me all the time, he's like, bro, I tell these guys all the time, like, if we need you to go in and play, like, I have full on belief that you could go in there and play. He's like, it's just the way it is right now. Like, you just got to kind of put your time in. But he's like, your time will come. And I know that if we need you, like, you're ready. So
That's huge. That's actually,
yeah, I was blessed.
Actually kind of an advantage now that I think about it that goalies have.
Yeah.
I think in pro hockey, because you guys, for
Yep.
the most part, in most teams, have a goalie coach.
Yeah.
And so if you're not, like, let's say you're a third string goalie, like, let's say Cam Johnson comes in as a third string goalie, but he's actually nasty, but the coach is like, don't see it. Well, the goalie coach is working with him every day. And like subconsciously comparing him to the other goalies and seeing that he's actually nasty, right?
Yeah. Yep. That was the thing. He's like, I know, like, you're obviously not playing games, but he's like, I literally, like you say, he's like, I work with you every day. He's like, I see how bad you want it. I see how hard you work. And he's like, I know, like, your fucking time's going to come and you're going to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Kudos to them.
That's so important in your hockey career to have guys
Huge.
That can see it.
have guys that are in the corner, but also have guys that are like coaches that you see as coaches, you know, as like you see them up here and they tell you like they believe in you, like you're actually good. Even though you're in a moment where you don't think you're good, they're like telling you you're actually good. Like that's so
huge. And when you look back at it too, it's always like when you look back a few years later, and I'm like, fucking, when I think about it, like exactly what you said. And he was like, he went to UND, he played there, he was a national championship goalie there, like having him say, you know, having that belief, and you know, just knowing he's going to bat for me, even when I'm not playing, even when, you know, I fucked off the 2 games, it didn't matter. He said, I'm still going to bat for you, and I still believe in you. And you don't get that a lot, and a lot of people aren't that fortunate to have, you know, and sure, maybe you have some coaches that care about you, but it's like truly when push comes to shove, like the dog eat dog world, like do they actually give a shit about you? So it was nice. I was fortunate that I was blessed with some coaches that believed in me and gave me some opportunities.
That's
and you know, also you gotta work hard for those too, right? Like I had to put the work in, I had to fucking put my head down, but you enjoy it at the same time too. I had a shit ton of fun my freshman year. First time moving away from home too. I was fired up. Like living on my own.
I want to get into your first pro contract and NHL deal, but
let's talk about how you got there. What was the process like as an undrafted guy leaving North?
But wait, before we get to that, I want to just mention this, okay? NCAA 2014-2015 NCAA regular season champion, 2015-2016 NCAA all tournament team, NCAA championship winner, NCAA regular season champion, NCAA second all-star team, NCAA second all-American team.
So coming off that career, what was the transition like?
It was like, are you talking from college to then pro?
Yeah, like the process of you signing, joining a pro team.
So it was like my senior year, and I could have left after my sophomore year. I had a couple offers, and I didn't really know what the offers were at the time. Like my agent's like, yeah, I got some teams calling about you. Like I'm sure we could, you know, work you out an NHL deal or whatever. And I was just like, you know, I never wanted to leave. And like, especially after the year we won the Natty, I was like, I want to fucking go back there and do it again. Like, and I didn't think I was ready. So I could have left after every year, but I didn't want to. And then like leaving a place early like that, it's hard to do. And like, we had a lot of alum that would come back and tell you too, like, yeah, this place is fucking awesome. Like, make sure you enjoy it. Like, you guys know, fucking blink your eyes and 4 years goes by. So.
Well, I played in the Q, so I don't know, but I know.
I guess you don't.
When I was growing up, like I wanted to play at the highest level all the time, whether it be major, junior, Q1. So I knew like Nodak, like dude, Nodak, you know, like this guy's committed to Nodak, like he's nasty, you know.
Yeah, it was. You just have like that. Yeah, well, it's like a little swagger, maybe a little arrogance, but it's like that little swagger, teeter in between like arrogance, swagger, whatever. But no, I never wanted to leave early. And then my senior year, we didn't end up making the tournament. It was a crazy year. We finished the year, I think, like 12th in the nation. And there were so many upsets that they ended up taking the top 11 teams for like the auto bids for the tournament. Because if you don't win your league champion or your league tournament, all the team or whatever, every division's got a league tournament at the end. If you don't win that, then you have to be an auto bid in the tournament. So you got to be like, usually it's like top 15, top 14 teams will make it. And we were like 11th that year. And it was some fluky year. All these teams ended up upsetting their league tournaments where we didn't make it. So it was crazy. Like right after my season ended, and again, like you're kind of caught up in the moment. You don't really think about it. I wasn't really like thinking about, you know, anything else other than like making the tournament and like being at UND. And then it was like, boom, our season ended. My agent was like, all right, well, I'm going to give you a call tomorrow. Like, we're going to probably have the ball rolling on a few things. And he called me the next day. He's like, yeah, you know, he talked to like 10 teams or something. He's like New Jersey, like Columbus, Philly, Washington. He had a list of like 5 teams that were like, all these guys are interested in you. Like your agents do it all for you. And at the time they're considered like a family advisor or whatever, but no, it was like the next day, he's like, bang, bang, bang. He's like, these teams would sign you for, well, want you for next year. These teams want you to come finish the year here, whatever, in their AHL team, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up getting a max deal from New Jersey, like max signing bonus, max contract, whatever. And I could only sign for 1 year because I was a free agent coming out of college and I was 23, I believe, at the time. So there's like a weird, I don't know how what the cutoff is or whatnot. But if you come out of a certain age, you can only sign a 1 year entry level. Or like if you're young, they sign them for 3 year deals, which would have been nice. Could have got a for sure signing bonus for a couple of years, but no, came out, got the max deal from New Jersey. I had to go and finish the year in the AHL, which actually helped me too. I played like the last 10 games there or whatever, so kind of got to get my feet wet with the pro game right away, because pro is so much different than college too. Like college, you're on a schedule, like you do this, and this time, like our warm-ups before the game, team warm-ups with our trainers, like everything was just like mapped out for you. Pro, they're just like, yeah, fucking you see that puck drop. So
figure it out. Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah. I had no idea. So it was such a big eye opener for me. But again, like I've played with a lot of guys, and like playing at UND, you play with guys that go on and play pro, and the hockey world's small. So I've been fortunate that, like, early, especially my first year, I had like 2 buddies from back home, and I had like 3 or 4 buddies on the team that guys knew when I was going. So I had a nice little group of boys going right into it. So like being a rookie is kind of hard too. When you come in, you got to do all the rookie shit, loading the bus, unloading it, first one off the ice, last one off, pucks, like you do all that shit. And I kind of, I had it a little bit easier because I was buddies with a lot of the vets. So the transition wasn't too bad. I just remember like it was like bang, bang, bang. Like season ended, fucking like the next day, my agent's like, yeah, like I'm just like, you signed this deal, like they want you down like right away. So it was like, fuck, like season ended 2 days later, I was signing and flying out of there. But it was awesome. But it was just, I remember it was just fucking bang, 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 like done, signed, flew out. And then I finished the year there, and thankfully, like we didn't make playoffs in Binghamton, so I was back at school like 2 or 3 weeks later. Got to enjoy the last little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, that's unreal. And you kind of do that everywhere you go. Hey, you stay a little bit longer, and it looks like you're still at Spectra right now.
Yeah, I'm still in Spectra. I'm still hanging out. So I got.
So when you win the championship, do they kind of let you stay a lot longer now?
Oh, yeah, they give you more time. Like, especially we ended it like last year, we were done like the 13th, I think, or 14th maybe of June. Like this year we were done like the 8th. So that's like a week already in advance. But we had the apartments through July. So they weren't really like pushing like, so usually if you lose here, they kind of, want you to get going right away, but they haven't really like pushed anybody out. It's just kind of been like, let us know what your guys' travel plans are and when you're leaving. So quite a few of the boys are out of here. I think there's like 5-10 of us left here. So
let's jump back to your pro career and getting that started, because after you played that year in Bingo, you ended up signing with Columbus. Is that right?
Oh, so after that
Milwaukee.
season,
yeah,
Milwaukee.
Oh.
Milwaukee. Nope.
Okay.
So I went from that. It was crazy, bro. And that's when I like figured out kind of like the politics of pro hockey, and just like my first year, our team in Bingo, like we're terrible. We're the worst. I think we were the worst team in the league, and we got a new coach in there. Like I was in with all the boys. We had a great group of guys, but there was just way too much disconnect from like the boys to like the coaches. After that year, we weren't good, and like they had told me like, yeah, our plan is to keep signing, like we want to sign you again. We want to get you back here. I played like 30 games, I think, in the A, and like didn't play real well, but I remember like there would be games I'd be watching with my goalie coach. I'd get scored on 6 times, and like he'd look at me after the game and be like, or after we'd watch it and be like, man, like I don't have like, it's not like you let in a bad goal. Like none of those are bad goals. It'd be like backdoor, rebound, like whatever. He's like, there's like nothing you could do. So he's like, I remember him telling me like, just throw your stats away. Like your stats don't mean anything. He's like, just, play, like feel good about your games every game, which I didn't play my best. It was still my first year pro. It's a big learning curve. Like it's a completely different game. So it was tough in that aspect, and that our team wasn't that good. So it's really hard as a goalie. Like you can't have good stats on a bad team as a goalie. You could
Yeah.
a little bit, but like you're gonna get torched. So big learning experience for me. And they told me they're gonna re-sign me. And like when you come off an entry level, they have to call it a qualify you. It's called. They have to give you a qualifying offer. And it's like, a little window like right before they open up free agency. And um they called my agent like it was like 30 minutes before the qualifying like time was over, and we're just like, yeah, we've gone back and forth like all day and we're not going to re-sign him. So like by that time all the teams basically had all their guys that they were going to sign, so I was kind of screwed. And I remember just telling my agent, like, just fucking take me to the best place that I can play. Cause I was playing in Binghamton too. Cold, like rainy, just gross weather. So it was a grind of a year where like that year I made the most, probably made the most money of my career. And it was like by far my least favorite year. Like I was miserable. I hated it. Hated going to the rink. Like it was terrible. So after that, I told my agent, like, just fucking send me to the best place that I can play. Like I want to go to the coolest place. And
And
uh,
where was that?
it was Florida. So
There
it
you
was
go.
crazy, dude. I came off an entry level deal to then I was looking at like backup jobs in the coast, like signing like 2 AA deals. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so I was like, all right, I'm going to then if I know that I'm gonna be like kicking in the coast, then I was like, I want to go to the coolest coast team. So Milwaukee wanted to sign me to a 2-way to be like a 5'6" guy. So I'd have an opportunity in Florida. But like I wasn't the starter here in Florida either. My first year we had Ken Appleby, and he started over me at the start of the year. I think it was the COVID year. It got canceled. So maybe if we would have went on, I'm sure we would have probably had a weird time, man. COVID, holy cow.
Yeah, that was brutal,
Yeah.
man.
So then the next season you sign with Columbus.
Yeah, so after that, I just signed a Coast Florida deal because the
Yep.
Coast was starting like 2 months before
Yep.
everything else was starting. They had like 10 teams or whatever that agreed to do a season. So thankfully Ralphie wanted me back. I was playing good at the end of the year for us the following or the year before. So he wanted me back, came in. Our team was fucking loaded too that COVID year. We had like Cole Smith was down,
Yep.
Tanner
Buzz
Janot was
podcast.
He
down.
was our last guest, Cole Smith. That's
Cole
funny.
Smith Smitty,
We
he's a
haven't even
beauty.
released it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a beauty. He's good shit. I love Smitty. He was down here, Janot, Tommy Novak. Like our team was fucking nasty. We were a legit AHL team, and
Yep.
we started the year like hot. I played like 7 games. I think I was like 6-1. I had some like ridiculous stat lines going, and Columbus called because Columbus I was talking to when I was coming out of college too. So they needed a goalie with COVID year. The NHL was doing a taxi squad, so they needed a goalie to go on their taxi squad. So I literally signed right from the coast and flew right to Columbus and was in the NHL. And actually, my first game there, I backed up, so I legit went from the coast to the show. It was dope.
That's unreal. Can you
Good
talk
day,
about that experience? Like, I know you were on an NHL deal like before, but now
yeah.
you've never like you're backing up now.
Yeah, I was like in the mix, dude. I was in the NHL the whole year. So it was really fun. It was really cool experience. It was hard, dude. I got the shit beat out of me every single day. Like
Yeah.
people don't understand what those fucking third string goalies go through. Like I was on the ice early. I would have to go for the taxi squad skate because when you're on the taxi squad, you were on just like your own. You were in your own little locker room. It was just 6 of us. Like they didn't have us in the main room because of COVID. So like all their stalls were way spread apart. Shit. So just in your own little locker room. Like I'd have to go get there early. I'd have to work out before the skate, then go skate with all the taxi squads. I'd have to stay after, do the NHL goalie skate, and then usually like one of the guys would be banged up, so they wouldn't practice. So I'd have to go out there and practice. I'd have to go on early, do all the shit before. I'd have to go through the whole practice, and then I had to stay after and do like all the scratch skates and shit, dude. I was in my gear every day for like 3 hours. It was insane. Like
Oh.
just getting the shit beat out of me. So it
You're
was
calling PHPA. You're like, what's the hour limit
oh
again?
dude, it was so messed up too. And like there was a point in time where I backed up for like a week and a half, 2 weeks straight because their goalie was think it was either Elvis. Elvis was banged up or something. So I was with the team for like 2 weeks. I backed up for like 5 games, and they would just call me up on emergency purposes. So I'd only get my NHL paycheck on game day. And I'd be practicing with the team during the week, but I wouldn't get my NHL paychecks. You know what? It was cool. I got to live the NHL life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a cool experience.
That's
I
a
mean,
great-
you were flying PJs.
Great way to
PJs. We were staying at the like Four Seasons. I was on like we'd come to Florida, play the Panthers. We'd stay at the
The Ritz, no?
Carlton. Yeah, Ritz
Yeah.
Carlton, Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Right on the beach.
Right on the beach, bro. I'd have a sick room with a balcony on the beach. Like I'd be
You eat
sending
at the
all my buddies
hotel at the
back
Ritz.
then.
It's like on the beach.
Oh yeah, literally on the beach. Like you walk out of the Ritz right to the beach, and like
Beautiful.
we all got our own rooms because it was COVID. So I'd have a king bed suite like in the Ritz Carlton. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's
A lot of
unbelievable.
fun.
What an
I had a lot of
experience.
fun.
And
I
then
wasn't-
after that, like, was it just to your agent, like, sign me to an AHL deal, but if
Yeah,
it doesn't
so-
work out, make sure Florida's my coast team type of thing?
Yeah, so that's what happened because I was on just a straight Florida deal when I signed with Columbus. So Florida still owned my coast rights, which was awesome because I ended up signing. I played the taxi squad that year, and then I re-signed with Columbus the year after too. The expansion draft actually helped me because I didn't play any games in the organization. Like I didn't play any games in Cleveland. I didn't play any games in Columbus. So I legitimately went like by the time I played my next game, it was like 11 months had went by that I had played a game too, which was
Yeah.
crazy. But re-signed me because the expansion draft, Seattle was coming in, so they need to expose a goalie too. So they signed me to expose me, which was nice. So I got another NHL deal out of it. And I was supposed to spend the next year in Cleveland, but I went to main camp. I was like 13% body fat, and they sent me home. They thought I was too
Shut
fat.
up.
I
Yeah,
know that story.
They
Yeah,
legitimately
that's a
sent me
crazy
home.
story.
Yeah. Like that's why
You didn't even get on the ice, right?
yeah, didn't even go on the ice. Like just got through all the like the camp testing, did like the VO2 bike, like did all that shit, dude. And they called me in the office like the day we were going on the ice, and we're like, yeah, you're not going on the ice today. We're sending you. They told me like that summer and shit, I would be in Cleveland, like I'd have an opportunity in Cleveland. And even when they sent me home, they're like, go home, get in better shape, show up in Cleveland, like ready to go. Like 2 days later, they signed a goalie. And like Florida wasn't expecting to have me either. So like Milwaukee, Nashville signed Bomaka, and then
And Parker was there too.
Milwaukee
I remember
signed
I was there.
Parker because they needed another guy. So I remember like calling Ralphie, like,
I
yeah,
remember you were in the
Fuck.
carousel. It was like one game each because
yeah.
they were like part of that organization. Whereas
Yeah.
like even though you were on an A deal, you were like technically in a different organization.
I was on an NHL deal at that time.
Oh
I
yeah,
was with
NHL deal.
Columbus, but it was just Columbus rather than Nashville.
So quick story. I was
Yeah.
in Milwaukee and I was there the first half of the year. I got sent down for 3 games in December.
Yeah, I
Blaines-
remember
the,
that.
the Blaines were pretty banged up. And I met the team in Norfolk.
Yep.
The first game was a Wednesday, Friday, Saturday in Norfolk. First game, CJ plays. He has a 19 save shutout. We win the game, and he gets like the chain, with like the gator head.
Next day, not in the lineup.
No. He stands up though. His speech, like you get the chain, you stand up, you give a speech. Puts the speech on. He's like, "All right, hopefully, we can put the politics to bed here, and
Yeah.
go with the guy who deserves it." And sits
Yeah,
down.
start winning some fucking games.
And I'm sitting here, and no, the thing is the head coach snaps back. It was only 19 saves. Relax.
Yeah.
It's post game, like just won the game, And so this is my first game with the boys. And I'm like, dude, this guy's a legend. I love him. I went up to him right away. I'm like, yo, what are you doing right now? You going to grab dinner or what?
That year I only played like 10. I only think I played like 10 games too, and then like came back for playoffs, and he played the shit out of me, thank God. But it was tough during the year. And I would like get scratched for like 2 weeks in Florida. I'd get called up to the A. I'd start like 6 games in a row. And then I'd get sent back down to Florida, get scratched again. So it was like ass backwards what was going on. It was ass backwards.
Well, man, you got the last laugh. 2-time Conn Smythe of the coast, you know.
Two-time
Yeah,
Conn
baby.
Smythe of the Coast, two-time champion, and a lifetime membership at a sick golf course.
Yeah.
I'd say
Oh,
you're
yeah.
winning right now, bro.
Yeah, I got the last laugh. It was all gravy. It was just part of the road. Like, you know, sometimes you're dealt some burgers and made the most
Absolutely.
of it.
I just want to get this in before I wrap this up. I'm point per game against the Everblades this season. I don't know if you remember
Oh no,
when I played
I
against
think
you guys with
scored on me.
Savannah. Yeah, I
You
scored.
scored on me.
Thank you so much for that, bro. Hey, I know you let
Oh.
that in for me. You guys were winning like 6-1. You're like, oh, that's flashy crashing the net.
No, you earned it, bro. I'm a gamer. I hate getting scored on. So when you score on me in the game, that's all you.
I appreciate you coming on the pod. Like, dude, this is
Oh,
long
thanks for
overdue. I
having me
remember
on.
we tried to get you on last summer, and
Yeah,
For a reason.
yeah, you're like, this is even better now because you're a two-time. So just
we'll
congratulations.
have to do an annual time on the Buzz Pod for sure.
Oh,
Absolutely.
welcome
Every
to
year
the Pod
regroup.
family.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And you're gonna have to send us your address right now through text. We're gonna send you a lid,
Yeah.
some merch, and
Yeah.
get you repping the boys.
Hell yeah. It was good chatting with you boys. I appreciate you guys having me on. You
Dude,
guys are
it's always a pleasure talking to you, Cam. I wish I was there right now hanging
Yeah,
out.
so do I, man. Both of you guys. Fuck. We'll get you guys both back down here soon.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely, bro. Thanks again.
Yeah, you're welcome, boys.